Senator Mondo.
Here.
Senator Prado.
Here.
Senator Rosenberg. Senator Taylor.
Here.
Senator Tease.
Here.
Senator Wong.
Here.
Senator Zisser.
Here.
We're missing two.
All right, we're moving on to the approval agenda. Do I have a motion? Senator Daniel.
Motion to suspend the legislative bylaws.
So motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Garland. Discussion. Senator Daniels.
So the reason why I'm suspending the legislative bylaws is because last week during the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, we passed a special case fund for the Black Graduation Committee. The bills, I submitted the appropriate changes and emailed everyone here with the changes made during the committee meeting. So I'm basically adding it to new business as well as, yeah, that's basically it.
Senator Daniel.
You sent
wish
it
to add
just right
something?
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wish to add something to the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there any other discussion?
Why wasn't the bill in on Monday? That would already be on the agenda.
I actually have email verification that I sent to Ivan
Okay.
twice, but he didn't add it.
Okay, just checking.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, then we're moving to a vote. All in favor?
We're adding to the agenda.
Senator.
I'm sure it throws
It's,
that.
it's unanimous. Okay, so it's unanimous. The legislative bylaws have been suspended. Is there a motion? Senator Daniel.
I move to add Bill 84, the Black Graduation Committee, to new business.
Okay, so motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Senator Mondo. Any discussion? Or is anyone opposed? Okay. Bill number 84, what is it?
The Black Graduation Committee.
Okay.
Senator Daniel.
Thank you. Are there any other motions? Senator Daniel.
I just realized.
We'll make it cuts, yeah. Look at the most updated
I was wondering why
The speakers.
police camera. It's not on there, so we're good.
I can play the role of the police department.
Honestly, to cut anything more, this wouldn't be we're okay.
Wait, let me guess this.
It's fine.
FEI
Okay. F-E-I
TEL
T-E-L
BERG.
Oh, thanks for the new office space.
That was the entire space advisory committee. So we're glad to be able to find some space for you guys.
We wrote a resolution, but it was a little bit late getting to you guys, I think. So yeah, kind of.
Fine. We've known it's a priority for a long time.
Yeah.
We just had to move, what few pieces we have to work with right now. So no, we're happy to do what we can.
All right, so are there any other motions? Okay, then we're moving on to the approval of the agenda. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda? Okay, now it's unanimous. Okay, so moving on to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion? Senator Garland.
Motion to approve last week's minutes.
So motion, is there a second? Senator Mondo. Any discussion? Sorry. So all in favor of approving last week's minutes? It's unanimous. All right, so we're moving on to the guest speaker. Welcome Dan Feidelberg, the VC Planning.
Thank you. I hope this is more of a guest discussion than a guest speaker, but I'll just kick off by telling you a little bit about myself, what we do, what we're working on, and we can talk about what's on your mind. The Division of Planning and Budget is still a relatively new division on campus. Was started a little over a year ago, and so I came to campus to help shape that department, get it set up, and begin the process of the 2020 project. And we've set up 3 groups in the division. Real estate services is one, most directly tied to planning for real estate in the 2020 project and where we're headed from that front. The finance group, which is both capital financing and operating finance, and trying to build a unified finance plan for the campus going forward that is integrated within the 2020 plan and our vision. And then institutional research, which is our group of analysts who help us look at what comparable institutions are doing, how they grow, take a hard look at what we're doing and why, and a great group of statisticians that we use every day for a variety of purposes. So, with that in mind, the 2020 project itself, to me, is really about where the campus is going as a whole. So it's not just a real estate project. It actually encompasses, in our view, the Strategic Academic Focusing Initiative, which is an initiative that Provost Peterson and Professor Lopez Calvo, the chair of the Academic Senate, are working on together with the faculty and administration to define the growth of our graduate and undergraduate programs going forward between now and 2020. Out of that comes the need to plan how we invest and use our resources as a campus. First and foremost, from an operating standpoint, how many faculty do we need to hire? How many, what do we need to invest in programs in graduate and undergraduate education and student life and the like from all of our fund sources, but also, very importantly, the real estate project as well. And I think that becomes the most visible aspect of what we're doing, given that that it will build the buildings that you and your successors and professors and faculty and staff who come after us will be utilizing for decades to come. Those buildings need to reflect who we are as an institution, our community, provide the recreation activities, student life activities that we know are very short in short supply on campus, but also the academic labs, the faculty offices, the teaching labs, the additional housing, dining opportunities on campus, and really make this a campus that works at 10,000 students. So in that future growth beyond that will continue to augment what we have, but we need to make sure that we've got a holistic campus for 10,000 students. And so that is not just sort of a real estate project, but it is really centered at what is that, where do we start with the program and what services are we providing as a campus, and then do everything we can to deliver that. And there's a lot of challenges. It's much easier said than done, but last week we made a major step in that process, and we released a request for qualifications to the market for development teams to come together to deliver that real estate project. And that's going to be a process that will be ongoing for the next several months. Teams have about 2 months to put themselves together and respond to a very long list of requirements. We have certainly raised the bar in terms of what we're expecting teams to come with, requirements that they have the capability to plan research university campuses, that they have student housing development experience, that they have the architectural teams. It's going to take I think more than one team, because they're going to have to bring expertise in a variety of areas. They can look at a small footprint and understand how to deliver a mixed-use living learning environment that fits within the core values of the campus. They have the financial wherewithal to do it. And out of this process, we will have a short list of teams who come together who can move forward into an RFP process. And over the next several months, we're also going to be working in parallel to continue to move the strategic focusing initiative forward, to be going through programming process and creating a level of specificity necessary so that the shortlisted teams really have very specific items to deliver and bid on in an RFP process, so we can ultimately select a winner. And we're also going to need to build our long-term finance plan as we go as well. So it's a big job, and one that has its fits and starts and its challenges, but is incredibly rewarding because I think certainly when I came here, I think you all, we all, staff, faculty, and I think all of you are part of the genesis of this country's next great research university. It's the first research university built in the last 40 years. It's maybe the last new campus that UC builds ever, if not for a very, very long time. And here we have an opportunity to help shape that. So, we'd love to just spend the time talking about the things that you care about and answer questions, and also make sure we're hearing from you as we go forward down this path. So I'll stop there.
Any questions? Senator Mead.
So moving forward, I know you said you're planning how to split the budget and the real estate that's going to be built in the future between recreational activities and academic activities. How do you guys determine how to split that? Like, we're going to have this many buildings for recreation and this many buildings for education and academics. What kind of process you guys use to determine that?
Yeah, so it started back last September, and actually I'll go back to sort of the beginning, which was this question of how do we deliver, one, how do we deliver new buildings given what our plan was, and two, what is the optimal way to do it? And one of the things this campus has benefited tremendously from has been the commitment of the state and the UC system to continue to invest here even during very difficult times. And I'll go all the way back to 2010 when the campus had about 3,500 students and tuition revenue of less than $25 million, and we're at the height of the Great Recession. The state of California is stopping its capital program. Within 3 years, the state had cut the university system $650 million from its operating budget, almost 25%. But it was also at that moment that President Yudof signed a memorandum of understanding with this campus to continue to invest, and they did. We've grown our general fund contributions by I think 65%. We've grown enrollment by 70% in the last 4 years. But fast forward to last year in the state budget process, and the state had effectively stopped its capital program for the University of California. And what it did last year was to say, we want to take a step back from micromanaging every building you do. We're going to give one support appropriation to the university, and you guys figure out how to do it, how to manage your business. You can use 15% for capital, but we're going to be, what used to happen was the state would pass a separate bill and then issue bonds for each building that the university system would build. So that's not going to happen anymore. We still want to approve what you're doing, but do it yourself. So effectively, the old traditional way of building buildings, building by building, stopped. So we had to rethink our capital plans, recognizing two things. One is a lot less dollars, and so we have to be efficient. And two, recognizing that when we looked at our space, we are short on space on every category of space, but perhaps for general instruction. I'd say general instruction being not laboratory instruction. And the only reason we're not short on space is the legislature, in their last act of capital, said we're going to give one more building to UC Merced, and that is COB2. And that'll have a number of instructional buildings in it that'll bring us up to capacity. So we've had to say we're out of space in every category. If we build another building today, which we need, we're going to build on parking. And I assume you'll feel like there's plenty of parking. Okay, we can't do that. So that opens up this need to start building on all of the empty space down there, our phase 2 footprint. And the question became, how do we do that? What's the best way to do that? And so when we started the process of this project, what we said is we need space in every category, which means we got to do it all at once. We can't really accept a tremendous number of additional students without making sure we've got every type of space covered. So we're building a lot of different types of space at once. Recognizing that, let's form, and let's have a good, thorough process through the campus community to really understand the wants and needs. So we had about 35 focus groups. I think the graduate students and undergraduates from I guess it was, sorry, time flies. It was last year. It was this October. I think participated in some of those: faculty, staff, administrative units, the schools, and the feedback we received in that helped shape, and also our existing plans at the time helped shape what our program was that went into this RFQ. So what we've done thus far is to say, we need about 800,000 square feet of academic space in categories of labs and instructional space and offices. We need about 2,000 additional housing beds, more than double what we have now. It's about 650,000 square feet with the associated dining. And we need student life facilities. Some of that, welcome center, conference spaces, outdoor recreation. So our athletics and recreation folks looked at that, and we've estimated we need about 6 acres of rec fields, and so, all of those things got into a list. And that's what we've said we need. Now that is admittedly a bit of a wish list. We know we've got to go through
15 seconds.
A process to hone that down. But that's how we got to the program that's going to define the process.
Senator Mondo,
I move to extend the guest speaker's time by 10 minutes.
there's been a motion to extend the guest speaker's time by 10 minutes. Is there a second? Senator Daniel? Second by Senator Daniel. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? 10 minutes. Senator Heath?
I guess just as a follow-up question, with the way the economy is going and the way that people are viewing college, are the recreational buildings and spaces could those possibly be in danger in the future? Or not I don't want to say in danger, but with the ratio of would the recreational buildings possibly be cut in the future due to as you said, the dollars are being cut, the funding's being cut? Would those be at risk for not being built in the future?
Yeah, well, we're going to do as much as we can with this project, and we may not be able to build everything we want now. So I think that's where that comes in. I think the concern we see we need a lot of outdoor rec. I think that was the biggest category of recreation space that's in the program. What I'm frankly most concerned about is some of the indoor. We'd say indoor spaces that are non-revenue generating. Things like the Welcome Center or Convention Center, may not be economically feasible. We also know we need, and there's been a lot of talk about student union, and we've asked for, what are those types of services we need indoors that, we need to be very committed to building. But those things are, because they're not going to pay for themselves like housing does, will require campus investment, whether that's student fees or other, or other. Student unions are traditionally built, based on student fee referendum. So we're going to have to look at that in terms of what we need. But we're at the forefront of that analysis, and we haven't gotten there yet.
Senator Brown?
I know there's a really big focus on I've heard a lot of focus on mixed-use spacing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that later on we would convert what we already have into mixed-use spacing, so to sort of get a homogeneity around the buildings that we've built, or are we, or are the buildings that are sort of already there, are they sort of going to stay the same way, and we're just going to add on extra mixed-use buildings around them?
Yeah, I think the footprint, the 2020 project is really on the second phase footprint. So the plan is not to come onto campus and make significant adjustments to what we have on campus. We have our traditional capital program that'll do that. It's very, very expensive to retrofit buildings, and so effectively we have what we have. The question, and it's an important question of how, as we move forward with the project, is what does mixed use mean? And Mixed use does not mean we're going to put chemistry labs underneath dormitories. But it may mean we put in, if you think about, a more urban environment where we might have, a first floor environment. What does that mean? We may have, student services spaces on the first floor of a housing complex. We might look at having tutorial rooms in classrooms as applicable in some of the residential areas. There's those types of opportunities to make sure we've got lots of interaction between students, faculty, staff, and more of a more urbanized feel. What we've heard a lot of is folks like the campus as it is. It's compact. Folks are together. It's lively. There's activity, and we want to have an extension of that. And so mixed use really is how buildings will be designed. One of the core tenets of what we're trying to do is to say, it's why we lay out the program and say, we want mixed use, but we want the private sector to come in and give us some creative designs about how that works. We want teams to come together who've got the experience of building all these types of spaces so that we get something creative as an extension of what we currently have and continue to build upon what we have. If that's helpful.
Senator Daniel.
You have a question?
Okay. When do you feel the first mixed-use building will start being, because you said obviously COB2 is going to be built soon, and that's going to be still a single-purpose building, right? Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when is the first multi-purpose building going to be? Usually the ground is going to start construction.
Start construction. Our goal, and everything about this is as aggressive as we can be in terms of schedule, because we know we're at a space. We got to push it as hard as we can, but these projects take a long time. We expect an RFP process amongst that short list of firms next year in 2015. We hope to be in construction in 2016.
I guess the follow-up question is what will that building be? Will it be housing, but the first lot, the first floor is going to be the student services, or how is it going to be, or
we don't know yet. And this is part of the RFP phasing. We need to determine what our first phase
is there a priority?
Is going to be. I wouldn't say there's a priority because we need a good mix. We need everything to raise capacity. We know. I would say there's a higher priority or need to build more in that first phase of those things we're critically short of. We are, in my view, as we look around the campus, we're short of rec space, we're short of student services space, we're short of teaching lab space, and we're short of faculty labs and offices. And so I think there's going to be a lot of mix of those types of space in the first phase, but we have not made any decisions.
And last question: when's there going to be more parking?
I'm sorry?
When's there going to be more parking?
Parking would be in the first phase. I left off parking there. I left off parking, but yes, parking will be part of that first phase. We are actively looking at solutions, given our space constraints on the campus environment, looking at some constraints off campus. And I think every single one of the vice chancellors every day notices the need to be parking across the street. We know it's not safe. We know it's not ideal, and it's an issue. So even in the near term, we may need to look at doing some parking off campus with some park and rides. And we hired a transportation consultant who's looking at our, not only for the 2020 project, but what we have now and how to manage that to look at opportunities.
Thank you.
Senator Brown.
I don't even know if you can even answer this because this might be a little bit far off. But do you think that with the parking that we would build, that there would be a bigger focus on accommodating electric vehicles and things like that? Because I know in the way back lot back there, there's a couple of plug-in stations, but there's only like 2 of them for everybody for all the parking spaces. I don't even answer this, but any insight on that?
Personally, I think there should be. Part of our campus ethos is sustainability, and we should be looking at that. Our requirements are around trying to move toward our triple net zero goals, and everything we do sort of falls within that camp. How much of that is going to be where it's going to be, is has not been decided. Whether there are electrical plugins and how that works is yet to be decided. But we're actually on Monday beginning the process of scoping out our RFP, and that's a good point. I'll bring it to that meeting about making sure that sustainability includes parking.
Any more questions? Senator Daniel?
Would it be possible for, I think a few other campuses have, I know there's a lot of undeveloped land, like housing lots. Would there be any plans to actually take a few of them and build probably we have the housing things, be like an off-campus housing that's managed by the school, but off-campus, like in an area, I know there's large areas in the El Redondo, Bellevue Ranch areas. Would it be possible for that to be implemented?
It is, unfortunately, before I took this job, I started as a consultant, and that was sort of the first thing I was asked to look at, and we looked at it. And one of the challenges we have is once the university buys a piece of property, we then are held ourselves to the very high standards for all of our buildings that have been put in place, which includes ADA access requirements. It includes certain construction standards, so we were looking at buying some lots and building houses, and we would be building very expensive houses. And so what we really want is for those houses to ensure there's enough supply in the market, so that our students have places to rent. So the short answer is no, not in the near term. Some of that is really because of our own requirements, and that sort of leads us to building, larger buildings, more multi-use buildings than building houses on existing lots. And a lot of those lots that are available the infrastructure has already been built. So the sewer lines are in and the water lines are in, and it's really a matter of putting up traditional houses, and the university is just sort of not in that business or well suited to do it, unfortunately.
That is time. Sorry, Steve. Senator Daniel?
I move to extend time by 5 minutes.
There's been a motion to extend time by 5 minutes. Is there a second? Senator L. Wong?
Second.
Any discussion? Steve?
I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to offer my thanks and appreciation to you and the Space Committee for giving ASUCM, granting ASUCM an official office starting next year. Personally, it gets me out of the closet, and second, they really needed a space, and I think it is until there is a student union, the best spot for this organization. It's a huge high traffic area, and when C2 is built, they'll be able to open their back door and let in all the students on the courtyard. So
Yeah.
I think that it will serve them well, and I think they're excited to not be in a cubicle anymore.
Well, I think we're all glad we can do something with the significant constraints we have, and I'd also say it is my frustration that sometimes it takes us a long time to be able to act, and some of that is the pieces that need to be moved around, SSB coming online, finishing the third floor, making sure that, and that was a project in and of itself, that would take 6 months to actually go in and build the offices for people to move in, to free up other space so that you can move in. And so a lot of these, the campus community is feeling the constraints of that space. So thank you for hanging in there so long as we do that. And I think as we go forward too, building new buildings takes a long time and much longer than we'd like. But we're working as hard as we can. And I actually came to this job. My previous employer, I was in investment banking at JP Morgan for 13 years, where you supposedly work hard, but I'm working harder now than maybe back until my analyst days. So we're trying to do the best we can as fast as we can.
Senator Wong?
When will the university start constructing the COB2 building? Do you have an idea?
My exact date's in flux, but I expect this summer. And it should be delivered by the first half of 2016, probably late April 2016, I think is the current date.
Senator Daniel?
I know it's supposed to be constructed over here, correct? So,
Yeah, just beyond the library.
that little courtyard, would it be then actually a walk-in area? So think of a village square where people come and hang out on those benches. Would it be designed like that, or would it still be a bus depot?
it's going to be more a courtyard. So the bus depot, the issue will be that the buses can't turn around. So I don't expect the bus depot to go back there in the future once it's.
Senator Rosenberg.
Do you know, well, it's not a parking question, do you know if there'd be more like parking on campus, like more 20-minute spots and stuff? 'Cause I know right now it's really hard to like temporarily park and do something quickly up on top of campus without getting harassed by the parking people.
Yeah, and let's say I don't know yet, but it's part of that, part of the analysis that we're doing on transportation. All of those factors are being looked at in terms of sort of the operations type of spaces, the bus routes, and the sort of soup to nuts. So no decisions have been made on that, but parking is an important part of 2020. But frankly, in the next couple of years, as we continue to grow students, we only have the number of parking spaces we have. I think, in the interim period, it's unfortunately only going to get worse.
Any more questions? Senator Daniel.
I know this is kind of a follow-up to the question about the courtyard. Would it be possible to actually, I know as there's a lot, the SSB and the actual SSM building, would it be possible to move the bus depot to over there? Because I know there's a road that's over there, and the buses would be able to actually link in and turn to the parking lot to turn around. Would there be
over on Ansel Adams as you come back?
Yeah. Would that be any future plans? Because I know a lot of people are really inconvenienced about the bus just stopping at the recreation center. Would it be in any plans in the future to actually have it so it reaches the back area of the campus? So like the final stop would be TAPS, which would be kind of a compromise, but
Well, I think, again, that's sort of, we're sort of looking at everything on transportation and transit. I think the size of the buses we're using right now may be the core issue. So, I think fundamentally that would need to change. In 2020 as well, right now we've only got Ranchers Road that comes up into campus. Part of the 2020 plan, as we build the campus down to Bellevue, is that we would extend Bellevue past the intersection with Lake onto campus. And so, the goal is to have a loop around campus that may help resolve some of these problems. But as the project moves forward, something we're going to ask our transportation folks to look at.
Okay, that's time.
Well, thank you for having me, and certainly appreciate the dialogue, and to the extent we got to keep doing it. Happy to have you back. So,
Thank you.
Great.
That was a good.
Chair's report. So we are having the ASUCM banquet May 8th. Right? May 8th. It will be at the University House. So I'll keep you updated on that. So I'm meeting on Friday to meet with Diana, who is the executive event coordinator and University House manager on Friday, to discuss what we're going to be doing and getting. Other than that, how much to report? Elected and appointed officers report. Jefferson Group.
So I'm Jefferson, UVP. So next weekend I'll be going to UCSF for the UCSA main board meeting. It'll be our last board meeting of the year, so we'll hopefully get a lot done. We'll also be interviewing the top 10 candidates for the UC student regent position, where we'll pick the final 3 and we'll send them off to the UC regents to be selected. So that'll be an exciting and long day. It will be from about 7 a.m. until about 2 a.m. And so USSA news, I haven't reported on USSA that much because not much has been going on. But UW-Madison, so University of Wisconsin-Madison, just joined USSA. And also, after a lot of lobbying with other UCs and myself as well, we finally got USSA to hold Congress on the West Coast. So it'll be held at UC Irvine this year. So that was that. And UCSB had a bill on their table last night among their legislative council to withdraw from USSA. That bill is tabled, but I'll bring you the update when they do vote on it, which should be next week unless they table it again. There is a letter written from about 14 previous executive members on their executive council, going back to as far as, I think, 1995, stating, like, do not withdraw from USSA. So that was all really interesting and university politics. Okay. But anyways, apply to be a student advocate to the regions. It's up on UCSA's website. I'll post it on the ASUCM Facebook and everything tonight. I myself will be applying, since this will be the only time I'll actually be able to attend a Regents meeting this year. So it'll be during finals week, unfortunately. It'll be May 13th, 14th, and 15th. Regent Lobby Day is usually all 3 days. If it's your first time, preferably say that you can go on the 13th. So also, in addition to that, apply for system-wide committee positions. So this ranges from anything from the Regental Finance Committee to the Regental Education Policy Committee to Health Services Committee, etc. I think there are 10 committees in total. So that's that. I'll also have a link for that up as well. And also, either ways, I'll be at the Regents meeting if I'm not selected to be a star. Star as in student advocate to the region. That's what the actual name is. But I'll be going on lobby visits with a few Regent members. So this is actually the most important lobby visit that the EVP usually goes on every year. We lobby for, we directly lobby for funding for the UC system-wide and our campus. So last year, we were able to lobby and secure funding for COP 2. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we do have funding for COP 2. So that's that. Everyone should apply. I believe in all of you. That's all.
Are there any other elected or appointed officers?
All right, Michaela Shanahan, Associate Justice of the Court. Just want to let you guys know.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Liliana Zermetto, Associate Justice.
Just want to let you guys know we've heard 2 cases so far. Both of the decisions are ready to be made public. Unfortunately, Arash is not feeling well at the moment, and he will post them on the internet as soon as he gets a chance. But anyone who wants it, we can email it to any of you guys. So technically it is public. I will be emailing it to all of the people directly involved in the case, so the petitioner, the respondent, and anyone else who requests for it until it's made public on the internet.
So just feel free to let us know. Overall opinion, as a court, we feel like we've been doing really well. We've been going to our peers, making sure that we're taking the best decisions, making the best decisions during these hearings and everything. We've been referring to our bylaws, all the bylaws and everything. So
And other schools' bylaws.
and other schools' bylaws as well. So we've been just looking, having a broad view. But honestly, we could just say we have a very good court right now. We're proud to say that we're part of it. But yeah, so I'll be emailing the first 2 that were involved in the first hearing that we had. So expect that from me, and she will be sending out the second hearing.
So just clarification, the first hearing was the Daniel versus Brown hearing, so
will be
is that
from me.
And I'll send out the Brandon versus Elections Commission decision until it's published, so Arash will get that up eventually.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
More elected or appointed officers? Chair Daniel?
Hi everyone, Zach Daniel, Chair of the Dining Services Advisory Board. 2 things. 1, our interview with Jason Souza was a success. We collected a total of 35 questions from the student population, as well as about 4 from the actual committee itself. The Reach Authentic Media was so kindly to actually live stream, and it's available for all to see. You can check them out at UCM Rand, their YouTube channel. We also would like to say that we are working on a resolution for dining services employees. We will be compiling all the research and everything, so the resolution will be ready to be put on the table by Monday. So I'm just letting everyone know. Other than that, we wanted to thank Senator Garland, Senator Gray, and Steve Blair and Leadership Outreach Commissioner Inman for actually advertising our event. We want to give a special shout out to Steve. You're awesome.
Yeah.
That was by the vice chair. So thanks everyone. Also, we will be actually putting forth a bill to establish our bylaws for the committee. We will be asking for input. We'll send out a draft to everyone. But one thing we do want to emphasize that one of the key points of the committee is actually to work with dining services, because by working with them, we can actually be more effective advising role to dining, so they'll actually address student issues. If we create an antagonistic role or committee, they have the complete option not to work with us. So the bylaws will basically ensure that anyone that gets appointed next year to the chair will continue working with dining, and my working relationship with dining helped create the actual bridge, and we wish to keep that bridge built and not burned for the upcoming years to come, because dining's expanding and they're going to be changing things, and we want student input on the things. So instead of them going off of business models, they'll actually go from student input as ASUCM advocates for the students. So we want to do that. That's all we have to say. So yeah.
What?
Last question.
No. Any other elected or appointed officers? Officer report, Senator Pro Tempore, Senator Brown.
Sorry, I've been sick, so my voice is a little loud. I don't know what happened at the last meeting too well. I read over some of the minutes, but I don't want to cause too much damage. Alright.
Either other than that,
You know, I think you guys are great. Congratulations.
Sergeant Arms, Senator Jones.
Hey everyone. Guess what day it is?
Wednesday.
Hump day. It's hump day, Jefferson. Come on, get the joke. But don't worry, we only have like 2 more meetings of my hump day jokes. Like I started and I have to finish. If you didn't sign in, I think Steve did get a sign in. Steve will get a sign in sheet for you to sign in. And I just want to say, like, it's been a really great year. You know, I know we've stormed a lot, but I think we've done some great things, and I'm really proud to have worked with this Senate this year. Only 2 more meetings is kind of sad, but everyone hang in there, finish strong. Finals are upon us.
No.
Oh no.
Secretary Senator Gallo.
That was a good day.
Nothing to report.
ICC Liaison Senator Wong.
Nothing to report.
Court Liaison Senator Daniel.
If you have any concerns regarding ASUCM, file a court case, go to ASUCM.uc.edu, go click on leadership, judicial branch. It's in the sidebar. Just file a court petition. It's really streamlined. Other than that, court's been, tonight, court has finally completed their final draft of the court bylaws. I hope everyone took their time to actually look over the draft. There's very minor changes. But yeah, I'm not moving that to a committee of the whole. It's going to be sent to all committees. So you have another chance to look at it. So any questions, talk to court. They actually spent about, I think it's about a month actually forming everything. So I looked over it. I was really happy to see really efficient bylaws. So that's all I have to report.
Committee reports, budget and finance, Armando.
We had our meeting last week. We approved the special case fund for the Black Graduation Committee. I believe we did it unanimously. All members were eventually present. The conversation, we didn't really have much of a conversation give. We already approved of the bill when it came to the table. When it came down to it, it's fairly easy to pass the special case fund. That being said, meeting is tomorrow, 4 o'clock, Acorn Room. I think we only have 2 of these things left. So, yeah, there's that. We don't have to deal with this too much longer. Yeah, that's about it.
Academic Affairs Center, Brown.
So I wasn't here the last meeting, and the vice chair canceled our meeting. That was going to be for this meeting.
Student Activity Center, well.
We met today. We discussed all the bills that were sent to us. Senator Jones was going to be late, but unfortunately we finished the meeting before she could come to the meeting, so I guess she was in absence.
Student Advocacy Center, Garland.
We met today, everyone was present, we went over all the bills, and most things were unanimously approved.
Riley Sport, Steve Blair.
How's it going? need to have some more cohesiveness as to what's going on, because there's lots of ASUCM. To function at a high level, and for us to know what's going on allows us to do that, so that there's no more last minute stuff, because OSL didn't have it on its radar. So we'll try to help with some of that, but hopefully the report comes out soon. I don't know. Charles is out until next Wednesday, so it's at least a week away.
President's report. Treasurer's report.
So, Treasurer's report for the 23rd of April, 2014. General fund, $92,971.83. Remember, once again, that's when you subtract the $263 value amount spent, $170. Amount granted, $259,316.18. Amount spent, $170,552.10. Kind of brief, once again, sort of, same thing as usual. Still have not yet added that rollover. Probably should have done that. Yeah, it's probably, there's some events that we've done in the past the 45 days. Maybe it's at 10,000 a little over. Probably under 10,000 thing a little over, but last year this week, this is the final number they spent, had sent it, or they gave out, granted, was $202,982.99. Subtracting the $45,000 they gave the cap in the spring concert, $157,982.99. We surpassed them. We surpassed them long ago, and you're over 100,000. You surpassed them. You just over the hand. Okay. Visual. Don't worry, there's probably a lot worse than that. Yes, adding up the rollover and how much you left, $14,026.57. And for the last Islam awareness banquet, $1,600 is the request. Last year at ICC, they requested $1,950. They spent $1,564.38. We have left over $385.62. I forgot that. I should have mentioned this. I should have. Sorry, I'm so kind of asking. Actually, no, I figured it out afterwards. I thought I'd been signing off on some Islam awareness banquet bill, not a bill, but apparently it looks like Amazon was using this fund to help pay for it. So
you know what it was? Is they did new events all throughout the month for Islam awareness.
Oh, okay.
But they never asked ICC for money for the banquet for 2 different months.
Okay, no, that was last year ICC.
Oh, okay.
I mean, by just the Amazon's been given some. I've seen Amazon have to sign off. No, wait, no, that wasn't Islam awareness. That was the Turban Day actually. That's what he signed off. Never mind. Got that sensitive. First, I'm going to say a few things, just in general, kind of one. So OSL, kind of problems we've been having still in the past. Just that clubs are coming in, wondering, they come in the next day after Senate's approved it, and they're like, oh, can we get our money? And it's like, well, the president hasn't approved it. That's still going on. Clubs are still upset about that. It's been 5 days, especially with the ICC proposals. But also that OSL also kind of problems that if you're talking to any clubs, tell them if they're using money where you get them Senate and it's already been signed off, they still need to prepare a week ahead or something, at least a week, 2 weeks, or 2 weeks, because right now OSL's getting kind of sick of having these last minute 2 days, 3 days beforehand, having to deal with these purchase orders. I believe Multicultural Student Council had about this thick purchase orders for their spring festival, and that's on the 25th, I believe. Today's the 23rd. you know, and there was like about 20 purchase orders right there or something like that. And that, you know, just, you know, they have other things they have to do as well. Just, you know, they're getting kind of tired of that at times. And I think also just, I think kind of, if you're ever talking to some of these, you know, I think another thing is, you know, I think Steve kind of mentioned this about travel. I mean, you know, is it really cost effective for like certain groups like commissioners or that to really have to travel to go to, you know, so maybe learn more about what those other schools do, but you know, it's not really the best interest of how much we're spending student fees to do that. I think that's something to consider, you know. So whether, you know, obviously it's ending, your guys' term is ending this about 2 weeks, but you know, you're talking to whoever should win or those who are still running and are having due re-election to consider to tell to remind yourself of that, or to tell the prospective members about that, about how, you know, sort of think about, because one of the things I've spoken with Steve is, you know, if everyone, like, first right now is commissioners think about traveling. Next year could be senators want to travel more. Well, we're going to change, we're believe Steve's going to change that, where it's going to be, you have to go through Steve to get your, it's not just me that's approved, Steve's going to be approved of travel. You know, that's been sort of like changing like that. So just sort of consider that. And once again, like I said about clubs, just try to tell clubs about, try to be a little bit more plan a little bit more ahead on that center here.
So this is something that we could put in a report to the Senate in binders, and I appreciate your advice, but I'll probably send you a draft.
I'm not telling you that you just inform me, using our report to report. Senator Heath.
So Ken, I see in the beginning, can you go back to the beginning? Yeah, that one. Or no, the other one. Go back one.
Wait, that is the.
Oh yeah, that one. No.
That's the first one.
Okay, yeah. All right, okay. So there's an amount granted, right, and the amount spent. I'm assuming the difference between that, now it's like the difference between that is locked up and we can't spend it anymore. Is that correct?
Not entirely, because like I said, there's some rollover. Let's go back here. You know, we have some events right here, like let's go to the first one. Such as, let's say, like Bobcat Stud. Oh no, never mind, not Bobcat Stud. They're 2013-2014 semester. MSA West Conference, right? January 17th through the 19th. It's been 45 days, I believe. There's still like there's $526 you can take from there. Project Smile. No, that's what's Project Smiles date? When's their trip? When's their
It should be
May?
It's in the
I'm just gonna put May 2014. I need to see that question mark. No, wait. Oh, no, I don't think so. Or let's say after the Student Union, 2004, you know, they were spent 386. Oh, actually, no, that was March 9th. Never mind. That's not what that is. Or this one, National Leadership Winter Conference, High Alpha, 2004, 96, 14 spent, 2081. But there's only 2 weeks left. We have the $1,600 bill right now on the table for Islam awareness, and then let me go check the agenda. I guess the taxi voucher, but the taxi voucher seems to be $400. It seems to be almost creating a new line item. That's what it almost sounds like anyway.
Yeah. So.
But essentially, you could say it's not entirely locked up. Some it's been rolled over. Just, you know, unless you're going to be trying to spend about 14,000 and then add up about 5,000, like 19,000 in the next 2 weeks, you know, what are you going to do?
So a significant amount of the difference is locked up in the club bills, correct?
Yes, most of it.
So,
yes.
Is there a specific reason why we choose to have that policy? Like we can't take it out? Like obviously, use common sense. The people.
We do the 45 days because it's just sort of like. So part of it is also some money will be encumbered when county does it, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been spent. It hasn't been spent yet. So it's been like I said, encumbered. It's already been like the transaction hasn't been completed yet. So you know, and that's just an issue like we've always been facing. Like, and that's just a bylaw thing where it used to be 75 days. It'd be 75 days till you get the money back. It's now 45 days. No, it's 45 days now. Oh, is it reverse it? No, we changed. No, let me go check. Just find your.
It was changed last year. Because there was all sorts of stupid court stuff that happened, and they're waiting.
I thought we found out it was still 40, it went back to it was 45 days. Oh, you're right. No, we increased it. I've got it reversed. Yeah, 75 days now.
So after 75 days, it's rolled back into the general fund?
Yeah, go back into the general fund. Yes, that's correct. Any other questions?
Second, everyone.
Thank you for raising your concern to us.
It was just more, I wasn't trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to.
No, I said thank you for raising your concerns to us because that is your job to handle with us.
Oh, thank you. Any other questions? It doesn't need to be a thank you. It doesn't need to be a thank you call.
Public forum? Does anyone else like to speak? Hey everyone.
Hi everyone, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Project is coming out tomorrow, and it's a cool issue. It's got Okana on the cover. It's a really pretty photo. In the meantime, I thank you to Steve. His event was wonderful. This Leadership Awards event, and I was super honored to get the girls on this agency. Since you brought it up, I have to bring it up. Anyways, have a good meeting tonight. And, one comment on the public forum. Answering questions is a cool thing, but I don't want to. I don't want senators to argue with people and like repeat their points. Thank you. But anyways, carry on. I'm not smart with apologies.
Any more public forum? Okay. We're continuing with old business. So we're now at Bill 78, Islam Awareness Banquet, introduced by Senator Jones.
Motion to approve bill number 78 is on the
Approved number 78. Is there a second? Senator Gray? Senator Gray. Committee reports, budget and finance. Approved. Academic affairs. Student activities.
We had a concern whether that is similar or if it's the same event as ICC bill number 55, but it seems like that was cleared up. At the time we didn't vote for it because due to lack of
Student advocacy.
unanimously approved.
Senator Jones.
Okay, so Muslim Student Association this whole month is Islam Awareness Month, and they've been putting on several different events. I'm pretty sure you guys saw a lot of orange turbans today. And so what they sort of a big conclusion to Islam Awareness Month is their Islam Awareness Banquet, and this would be their third annual one. And so the purpose of this would be to bring awareness to Islam, to address a lot of misconceptions, and to really just provide that information from, students who associate as being part of the Islam community. That's pretty much it.
how come they didn't do it through ICC this year?
I'm not sure that it didn't do it through ICC.
Steve?
I think they missed the big ticket deadline, or they didn't have the attendance. They needed 2 meetings. They only had 1.
Senator
We really couldn't find anything to cut in this much in finance. Of course, the budget, it's pretty solid. I think that's all there is to it. I mean, this event's happened in the past, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So I mean, I can't find any problems with this. I think it's a fairly straightforward discussion. When it comes to the ICC thing, though, I think we should all be telling. Have you seen let ICC know to let everyone know about the attendance thing again? I don't think a lot of clubs seem to understand that, because this isn't the first time they've missed the big ticket item thing, or don't have the attendance to get someone to do the big ticket item. But other than that, great bill.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of Senator Wong?
On that note, please let your clubs know, or not your clubs, but the clubs, your friends, I don't know, just let them know, because we've been talking about this the entire year, how it works with ICC, when they get it, but it seems like clubs are still unclear about that. I've made reports about this also at the ICC meeting as a liaison, so just making sure that you have that one-on-one conversation is really clear for them.
More discussion? All those in favor of approving Bill 78, please raise your hand. Bill number 78 is approved unanimously. Bill number 79, legislative bylaw amendment for public forum introduced by Senator Lee. Senator Lee.
Motion to approve 79.
First motion to approve Bill number 79 is a second. Senator Daniel. Second by Senator Daniel. Any discussion? Committee report, Student Finance.
Disapprove.
Academic Affairs. Student Activities. Student Advocacy. Okay, Senator Heath.
All right, this is, I'll go ahead and thank, thing was brought up, Valerie brought it up. I'm open to amendments if you want to cut out the senators can ask questions to the students. That's something I'm open to, but going forward, I came into this bill with the mindset that students should already have this right. It was not something like I came in and said I wanted to change things. Most students don't even know that you couldn't ask questions. So that's the mindset I had. And from what I've read from the legislative bylaws, there's no law in there that explicitly prohibits questions by students in public forum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. And yeah, and I basically came to the conclusion that most students do want this. Just by walking around and talking with people that are not associated with us at all. They say, I didn't know that we couldn't do that. I don't understand why it would be a problem. And so talking to them and talking to people online, I came to that conclusion. And another thing that I want to point out is that this doesn't really matter who the introducer is, and I can say that myself, it doesn't really affect me whether or not the bill passes or fails. It's something that I derived from observation of the students that come to public forum, and by doing that, that's how I came to write this bill. And another thing is that, in my mind, even after understanding all the arguments opposed to this bill, I still support it, even though I am open to amendments. And another thing that Steve said is, we have to look at other schools, but also I think that's great, but we need to balance, what policies is borrowed from other institutions and what are our own unique policies, because we are a fundamentally different school than some of the larger schools. Like our public forum, doesn't even last a fraction of the time as the public forum at say UCLA or elsewhere. And on the ending note, I would say that honestly, this is not a huge change. Just because we give them or instill the right to ask questions doesn't necessarily obligate them to ask questions, and in my mind, what I predict is that there probably won't be an upsurge in questions asked. And that's it.
Senator Carolyn?
So, with all the bills that have ever been brought to this table, it's very well intentioned. However, it just brings up the point that a lot of rhetorical questions might be asked by the public that they don't necessarily want Senate to actually respond to. Another thing is that I feel like there should be more of a discussion on making all of basically ASUCM accountable, like maybe actually really enforcing tabling hours for students to actually ask us these questions one-to-one instead of being intimidated by a group of 16 people on average to respond to their questions. That's how I feel that this is going to go about, and I don't want them to feel personally attacked by Senate or intimidated that they usually tell us that they are.
Senator Mondo?
In the end, a system is already in place for students to comment on legislation that comes to the table, and that's the committee system. Right now, it's underrepresented, it's underused, and it's there. There are public meetings, and the few times people have actually shown up, the one time I made fun of David for being there, we did allow questions. We did allow questions. The point is, what I'm trying to make is, system already exists, and I think that adding this to public forum, though well-intentioned, I'm not quite sure what the results will be. It's our job to plan for every eventuality. And in the end, the way a meeting is run when it comes to parliamentary procedure is that once the floor is yours, at least in our Senate, it is yours until time, as long as you speak or until your time, the discussion time runs out. We could easily hijack any student's question that they ask and go on our own tangent and do whatever we want with it. We don't even have to necessarily answer the question. I mean, yes, it is the IEP's job to keep us on track, but in the end, once the floor is ours, we can use it how we wish to, so long as it's germane, but that's up to the IEP. The point is, I feel like this is a well-intentioned bill, but at the same time, we already have systems in place to allow students to comment on our bill in a public manner, and public forum is the students' time to speak to us, not our time to speak to them. Our time to speak to them is this entire meeting. That is our job. They, as students, are going to exercise their right to speak, and that is their time. And I want to consider their time sacred and not infringible by us, the Senate, because we're not like them. We are students also, but we are accountable to them again.
Senator Daniels and Senator Jones.
So
they had their hands a lot
Yeah,
before you. They had their hands before you, Senator Daniels.
So regarding the overall system of the committees can be easily advertised. However, allowing the public to actually ask questions is a risk within itself. They'll still have the 5 minutes. By allowing the public to ask questions would kind of change the way a lot of people look at the Senate meetings. It will, because I know a lot, like going off of Senator Healy's logic, that in the past, like in the beginning of the year, there were a lot of people who came to the Senate meetings. They would ask a question. There's 2 ways this can kind of go. It can either be a rhetorical question that's not really meant to be answered, like Senator Gerald mentions, or someone asking a legitimate question like, "Oh, what was your? I just want to know what was the logic behind this reason." So it allows a forum to be used. If it's everything has the possibility of being abused, but giving everyone the benefit of the doubt is something that should be looked at, as well as actually asking questions just allows more communication, and it gives, if someone didn't have an answer, then no one's going to have an answer for that.
Personally, I feel like a lot of discussion with students should happen off the table. We shouldn't have to wait until Wednesday and make the students come to us to talk to them. I remember a student was telling me he felt like he had to chase down senators. That's part of being successful, having office hours, talking to students, tabling, doing what you can to be out there and be recognized and be able to talk to students. Students shouldn't have to come here to voice their opinions. You should be going out there constantly, speaking with them and seeing what their concerns are, and not just wait until the day of and say, okay, well, if you want to tell me how you feel, or if you have a question to ask me, you come to the Senate meeting, get in front of everyone and you tell me that.
Alright, so I just want to address Mondo's question thing. If senators are bad at answering questions, then they're just bad at answering questions. It's not something that's not a problem that manifests from this bill. I mean, if you're bad at answering questions, there's nothing that can help resolve that. This bill only helps to serve us take a step forward to be, more accessible to students. And this doesn't undermine committees. This doesn't undermine office hours. This doesn't undermine outreach. This doesn't undermine, any of the other forms of communication. It's just another small step forward that we can take to make us more accessible.
Senator Zissou.
So there are 2 reasons I was going to vote yes on this bill. The first one is when people normally come to our public forum, is literally to stand up there and say, vote for my bill because of A, B, and C. My name is this. I love whatever. The second reason I'm going to vote yes on this bill is because or what I did is I went to the Ohana event in Luau last week. I saw some senators there too, and it's a pretty cool event. And I set up a table, and I put all the bills on the table, and I had people come around and put like yes or no on the bills. I just had the bill blankly there, and the majority of students were really surprised to see that they could not talk about their club during office hours. 2 wasn't how to respond. They thought it was really weird, and the majority said they would want us to offer that option to them. And so I'm just voting yes because that's just what the students said based off the bill, and I told them about it, and that's all for me.
Senator Mondo.
Harry, I'm not saying it's going to undermine anything, but I am saying that in the end, I don't want Senate to have any chance at infringing on students' speaking rights and speaking time. And above that, when it comes down to it, students oftentimes wait until their bill comes to the table before it actually gets spoken about. When their bill's on committee the week before usually, when they have time to actually come and represent themselves. And very few clubs have actually used that right, it seems like this year, because, we haven't had a club come into budget and finance, with the exception of last year for special case funds, in a very long time. When it comes down to it, I do feel that we need to encourage students to come in earlier, use these committees, talk to us in person. My email, all of our emails are public information. If they want to know my reasoning on why I voted on a bill, they can email me at any time. It's available. In the end, I just feel like this isn't going to necessarily better the discussions we're having. I just think it's going to add more time to Senate meetings where senators can simply hijack people's times and just keep on speaking about what they want to speak about, and basically have more discussion on the bills outside of discussion time.
Senator Jones.
I don't think this has anything to do with senators being bad at answering questions. Personally, I sat down with an individual who had one question about ASUCM. We sat there for 20 minutes plus talking about that one question. So as a senator, I want to be as thorough as possible and sit there and walk you through it and talk you through it. I don't want to just sit here and you come up here and you ask me a question and because of time I'm just like yes or no. That's not acceptable for me at all. I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to explain it. So it's not about a matter of being bad at answering questions, but how thorough and how attentive you are to that student.
All right, great. So I want to go back to I'll go back to Mondo's point. I mean, it's not necessarily we're infringing on them because it's a voluntary transfer of time when they ask us to answer questions. It's voluntary. We're not like it's asking you, obligating you to transfer your time to us. When you stand up there as a member of the public and you ask questions, it's voluntary. So you're not infringing on their right to speak. In fact, by not passing this bill, you're infringing on their right to ask questions to their elected officials. And in order to figure out how many was.
So I'm a little confused because I sat here in every public forum most of you guys have this whole year, and 99% of the time when they come up here, it's literally just to talk about, please vote for my bill and give us money. That's all it is. And the only people that come up here to talk about about Senate or ASUCM in general is like Maurice. I think Balthazar did it, and Valerie did it. Like very, it's normally like our friends. And I think 99% of the time they're not going to take up most of our time. They're not going to go off and make us do 20-minute long answers. I think they're just literally going to say, so what do you guys think about this bill kind of thing? I think that's really all he's getting at. I think that's all they're going to use it for.
Senator Gray.
So I think you guys are, I don't know if you guys ever think about this. I mean, at least I do every time I write a bill or I think about whatever resolution we're talking about. I don't just think about this year or next year. This is something you got to think about 10 years down the road. This is an amendment that you can enter our Constitution. It's going to stay there.
No, it's not.
The bylaw, someone else needs to change it. So think about the future. Don't just think about this year or next year. And to add on to what Zach Mondo said, yes, that was actually one of the points I wanted to make. Committee meetings, how many clubs show up there? Honestly, every time I write a bill, most of the time, a lot of the people that I go, I encourage them, and I ask them, like, if you want me to write this bill, I need you to come to these committees. And they do show up to the budget conference committees. Why? Because we need to encourage them as senators to use these avenues of communication before the bill comes to the table because they might have questions before. So that's to add on to what Dominique was saying as well, like how are we going to wait till last minute, the day of to answer all the questions that they might have. 5 minutes is not enough. And I know once you talked to me that, you told me that if their 5 minutes was up and they could request a follow-up meeting.
No, I didn't say
why
that.
can we do that? Well, Darren and you were talking about it when we were talking together. So I'm just like, why do that? Why give them a half answer now where we can meet later and then discuss in better detail?
Senator Gilman and Senator Mondo, Senator Brown and Senator Heath.
So what I was going to say is I agree with Senator Jones. Most of the time it's a lot of procedural questions, how to get funding, like where they should go, and those kind of just generally take like at least half an hour to explain, or where our Senate meetings are usually the questions, or we have an ASUCM. So that's all of the questions are just basically information based that can't really be answered in the 5 minutes that they're given. And I would like to call a question because I feel like most people have no other minds.
So there's been
As a point of information, I would be wary of saying with every decision you make, extrapolating 5-10 years down the line. You can basically extrapolate to absurdity and stonewall every decision that anyone ever makes, because everything we're doing now is almost barely going to apply to use percent in 30 years. So I'm just advising against trying to extrapolate more than about 5 years, because a lot of our decisions are not going to matter about 5 years down the line.
Okay, so I'm going to call a question. Call a question. All those in favor of voting and ending discussion on voting on ending discussion, moving to a vote, please raise your hand. Mr. Bill High. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniels, Senator Key, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong. Okay, unanimously approved. All those in favor of approving Bill 79, please raise your hands and put them up high. Senator Key and Senator Zisser. All those opposed? Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Key, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Taylor, Senator Garland, Senator Brown. All of those abstaining? Or you moved. You have to abstain. Just abstain.
Oh, okay.
You're supposed to move before I move to vote. Yeah, but it's okay, so bill number 79 dies. Vote doesn't pass and it might die this week. Resolution number 15, practical and sustainable classroom chairs, introduced by Senator Teese. Senator Teese.
Motion to approve resolution 15.
There's been a motion to approve resolution 15. Is there a second? Senator Garland.
Second.
Second by Senator Garland. Committee reports, budget and finance.
Budget and Finance approved of this, though concern was brought up in committee by a member stating that, asking that we want to make sure that it wasn't just saying we want ASUCM to only pay for these new things. We wanted, we didn't want to, we wanted to keep the funding source kind of vague. That way we could try and get administration to do it maybe instead of always having us spend money for it.
Student activities.
We didn't vote on it because we didn't have enough information. We had a concern that with the be it resolved, ASUCM supports the funding. We wanted to make sure that what you meant by that is, are you asking ASUCM to fund it, or are you saying that ASUCM supports whatever revenue to help fund these charities?
Student advocacy.
Academic
Academic. Okay, Senator Teese, you have 5 minutes to choose.
Okay. Yeah, so this bill is just asking for ASUCM support to just replace like the black armchairs, which aren't very practical or sustainable. And for the be it resolved, ASUCM supports the funding of no chairs. That could mean ASUCM purchasing them, or just another group purchasing them, and then we support that. But I was thinking more that it wouldn't just be ASUCM buying all these chairs because they're pretty expensive. So that's what I meant by that.
Any more discussion? Senator Gray.
So you're saying that that ASUCM, you support that ASUCM funds whatever remaining chairs are left? I think you said what was the black chairs?
Yeah. You want to roll the one?
Yes. Yeah.
Senator Mondo.
Though it may seem like kind of a small issue, I actually feel like this is an example of the kind of resolutions we should be passing more around here, because these aren't these huge issues that are extending across the entire state of the system that don't necessarily affect students. As small as it might seem, these actually affect a lot of students. I've been in classes with those terrible chairs, and they're breaking out from underneath you a lot of times, or the little desks don't work, or they just fall right down to the very bottom because that little pump thing doesn't work either anymore. So I think that we should have more resolutions like this in the end that focus on things that directly affect students, specifically what they sit on, rather than these issues that generally don't affect the majority of students here. And I'm not saying that about our resolutions, we sometimes see it at other campuses, but I really do enjoy seeing a resolution like this.
Any more discussion? Okay, we're moving to a vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 15, please raise your hands and keep them up high. Approved unanimously. Okay, new business. Bill number 80, tax voucher, introduced by Senator Zister.
Motion to send bill number 80 all committees.
There's been a motion to send bill number 80 to all committees. Is there a second? Senator Gallen. Second by Senator Gallen. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay, this is to all committees. Bill number 81, court bylaws, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
I move to send bill number 81 to all committees.
There's been a motion to send bill number 81 to all committees. Is there a second? Senator Zister.
A second.
Second by Senator Zister. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Bill number 81 has been sent to all committees. Resolution number 16, solidarity against discriminatory questioning for blood donations, introduced by Senator Gallen. Senator Gallen. There's a motion to send resolution number 16 to all committees. Is there a second? Senator, second by Senator Gray. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Resolution number 16 is to all committees. Bill number 83, ASUCM Club Event Archive, introduced by Senator Zister.
Motion to send bill number 83 to all committees.
There's a motion to send bill number 83 to all committees. There's a second. Senator Mondo. Second by Senator Mondo. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Senate. Bill number 84, Black Graduation Ceremony, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
I move to send bill 84 to committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to send bill number 84 to committee of the whole. There's a second. Senator Gray. Second by Senator Gray. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Bill number 84 has been sent to committee of the whole. Senator Daniel.
I move to Senate to committee of the whole.
There's been a motion to move Senate to committee of the whole. There's a second. Senator Mondo. Second by Senator Mondo. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay. We are now going to the vote. Senator Daniel, you have the floor.
So I went through the bill, edited it out the things that violated the financial bylaws. I emailed everyone the bill. It's about $300 less. We already discussed this last week. Just to let everyone know, it is open to the public. They are allowing individuals. You don't have to be of the ethnicity to actually participate. You just pay the fee by the custom graduation garb and participate. I do encourage everyone to actually go with the guest speaker, doing more research. She's a part of the National Society of Latin here. So it's really cool to see, that organization grow and get that. And she really wants, she finds it honor to actually speak to the super side.
The plus up the cuts that we've made more than content this bill from a budget and finance perspective, so I don't believe there's much. Good bill.
So I was gonna vote no for two reasons. One, I originally thought that it was kind of bad just because when we have a graduation, it's the only time for all students that are graduating to get together and go through a ceremony. The theme of the ceremony is always, you're pursuing your next big milestone in life because you just finished college. And I think it's bad to have a separate graduation. So I asked students, and I set up a table, and I asked students, I put the bill there, and I had them walk by and vote yes or no. And the majority actually said, well, first it was like 50-50, and I asked them more, and then I leaned towards the their side. So a lot of them wanted every other student to be there in graduation. The reason why I voted yes on the Latino one, though, is because that was a language barrier. So we had like another way to get around it. But I think it's wrong. When I talked to students, the majority said that they really didn't like the fact that the theme of a graduation is going to be an ethnicity theme. They think it should just be we're all together, let's graduate together kind of thing.
It's a nationwide theme, right?
Well, that doesn't sound related to what he said.
Senator Daniel?
Just to clarify, commencements, there's actually two commencements. Before there was like one large one, but now there's a national science / engineering commencement and a social science, humanities, and art commencement. So there's two separate commencements. Some people are friends from all three schools. So this would be a perfect opportunity to actually have people from every school attend. So that's kind of the problem with doing the commencement, but it makes it more time efficient. Actually have two separate ones, but it's still, it has more to offer than just a normal graduation.
Senator Jones?
I just want to clarify, you're not saying that you think that the black students are having their own graduation and they can't come to the large graduation? Okay, because that's been a misunderstanding at other campuses, and I want to make sure that wasn't happening here.
There you go.
I think that we should be culturally accepting of all cultures, and we should allow them to have their own graduation ceremony. Also, to bring up guest speaker in the past about student wellness in life, I want to mention that our African American students on this campus feel very disenfranchised, and taking away funding for the ceremony might make them feel even more disenfranchised.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this. I was understanding that this was just symbolic. This is like they still do graduate. They still do the actual commencement where you go, and if you're going to get your diploma, you get your diploma there. If you're going to get your holder, you get your holder there. And then this is just a commencement to be sort of cultural celebration. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I mean, I don't see how like this being going to being exclusive is germane at all. They're still graduating with everybody else. They're just doing this to celebrate culture. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Senator, is this Senator?
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like against anti-culture or anything. I just presented the bill to students, had them walk by and read the bill and vote yes or no on it. And I told them this is your student fees, so understand that, and then vote yes depending or no depending on what you thought. So I'm just repeating what the students told me to vote on.
Senator Daniel?
Oh, yeah, it's more so.
Senator
Simply.
Senator Brown?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know. I'm not saying that you're being culturally insensitive to racist or anything. I'm not instigating that. I'm just saying that I feel like all the students that said that they were under the impression that this was going to be like a completely separate commencement ceremony where they're going to do, you know, the whole official thing, get your diploma there and everything. When really it's just an additive celebration, and they're still going to the actual commencement that the school holds for their school. It's just this one's extra cultural celebration. I feel like the students who voiced this on are really missing that.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your effort of going out to talk to students, but I feel like at the same time didn't understand the fully. So maybe that's why I didn't want to vote for this bill. So I would really appreciate it if we were to go out to students, we're actually giving them 100% of what's going on.
Senator Jones?
I just have a question. We were telling students this, did you also tell them like the Black commencement ceremony isn't the only one that we host, and that all students are allowed to participate regardless of race, and that it's not the actual commencement ceremony, but more of just like a sort of an additional celebratory event? Did you inform them of that when you were asking?
So what I did is I took the bill, and then so I put the bill on cable, the full bill, and then I had him, since he's the introducer, write a summary, like a paragraph summary, and then he edited and stuff, and then we put it there. Remember, I was there at Jaren's house. Remember?
Yeah,
Harry was there.
You were sitting there typing
it. I had him write a summary so I could show the official. I put it on the front of the bill, and I had students really read through it on their own, and then I would just answer any questions that I felt. But I had them read through the bill, so they had all the information.
Senator Daniel?
Point of revision. I do not remember any of these.
Point of order, that is not how you use point of order.
Okay.
Sorry, this isn't getting at me all night and all year. A point of information is a question you ask to someone in order to clarify something. You cannot use point of information to interrupt someone in order to provide your own information. I should have done that to Adam earlier, but this has been getting at me for the past 2 months.
Senator Daniel?
I have the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Basically, this is kind of the conversations about it.
Can you call a question? Is there, okay, so all those in favor of ending discussion and moving to a vote, please raise your hand. Approved unanimously. Move out. Senator Daniel?
I move to close the
There's a motion to consent committee of the closer second. Senator Taylor? Second by Senator Taylor. Discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay, we're out. Okay, all those in favor of approving bill number 84, please raise your hands and keep them up high. All those opposed? Senator Daniel. Okay. Announcements. Senator Daniel.
Since El Presidente said, please, every bill, I asked this, could you send me every bill that was approved? Like, email it to me, I'll print it out and I'll take it to him. And
Oh, because he's sick.
yeah, I mean, I'm already sick, so we can't make him sick.
He's downstairs. Yeah, he was playing League of Legends.
Senator Mondo?
Zach, I didn't mean to explode right there, but technically you did use a point of information by saying point of information. I think the way I see
This
it.
is not
So no, I'm just saying. I just wanted to point to
Senator Mondo, you can talk to him afterwards if you'd like to. Senator Daniel and Senator Heath.
So, one thing I do want to say is the Multicultural Student Council Spring Festival is on Friday. Y'all should go. Seriously, go. It's a great event. A lot of clubs and organizations are collaborating. There's a large turnout. They spend a lot of money. It's going to be a fun festival. You know, right before the dance off. Also, the Commissioner of Municipal Relations is holding an event on Saturday that leads up to the dance off. So y'all should contact him to learn more about it. It's really, you know, there's a bunch of events going on this weekend. You know, it should be boring. It's a great stress reliever before finals because everyone hates finals and screw core.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey.
All right.
Senator Heath.
All right, so yeah, I just want to congratulate you guys for being so confident in yourselves and your stances. And I want to announce that today, at the end of it, most students wanted Bill 79 to be passed, but it wasn't passed. And I just want you guys to keep that in mind. But I am, you know, happy that you guys are confident in your stances. But then again, I would say that most students
on this campus, one that really.
Do you have like an announcement for an event?
Yeah,
or-
just an announcement about this bill.
Okay, Senator Gill.
Okay, so a couple of announcements. First off, dance off is this Saturday, so I look forward to seeing all of you. There's a huge line, so it's off campus this Saturday night.
Wait, it's off campus?
Yeah, off campus. I'm pretty sure they'll be providing shade. And if you are the first 100 people in line, you will get a free shirt. So be sure to arrive there like 2 hours early because there's probably going to be a very, very long line. Filipino Cultural Night, I believe, is this Sunday. So yes, as Senator Daniel was saying, this is going to be a very fun-filled, eventful weekend. Filipino Cultural Night. Yeah, so come out, hear some amazing Filipino cultural songs and food. I also want to say that my office hours tomorrow from 10 to 11 is canceled in the Lantern because I need to go to Chem 8 office hours since I have a midterm tomorrow. The binders will be ready by Monday morning at hopefully, I want to say 10 a.m. So they're going to be in our office if you want to put in anything for next year's Senate. Elections are tomorrow, people, from 8 a.m. to Thursday to 8 a.m. Friday. So be sure to get out there and vote. It's through Cat Life. There's instructions provided on Cat Life, so it should be fairly easy enough. Also, elected and appointed officers report. If you want to talk about any of your individual projects that you're working on, that's a great time to say it if you don't want to say it during announcements. So if we have larger crowds of people, and you want to just bring out the word before they have to leave, you can say it then. So yeah.
I have a quick announcement. On April 30th, this is an actual event, is the Very Hungry Caterpillar, and so they'll be hosting, you can donate books, I believe, and there's going to be a pie eating contest for $5. So if you like pie, so next Wednesday, April 30th at 1 p.m.
You guys can buy your tickets with even any goats and kids.
Okay, so Senator Jones, Senator Mondo, Senator Dissert, and then Senator Daniel and Senator Gray.
Senator Daniels beat me to it. I was going to tell you all about the event for municipal relations. So it's Explore Merced, and they're taking the first 50 students who sign up. They're taking you on a tour around Merced along with a free dinner, and it's from 12 to 5 lunch. So it's from 12 to 5, and it's perfect because you'll already be downtown for the dance off. So if you want to explore Merced and get a nice free lunch, and then go to the dance off and see choreotics, I suggest you all should go. I'll send you all the flyers later.
Senator Mondo, Senator Dissert, and Senator Daniel, and Senator.
It's a little bit late, but Greek scene's going on right now if you want to see a bunch of Greek people embarrass themselves and dance. So that being said, Sigma Chi's Derby Day is still going on. Donate money in the Penny Awards against with all the sororities. Which one gets the most points gets a larger portion of the money donated to their chosen charity. Sigma Chi donates to the Huntsman Cancer Foundation, and I think this one goes towards the Children's Miracle Network, though. I think Kappa Gamma is the same one. Is that right, Miriam? Yeah, okay. Children's Miracle Network gets a lot of this money. So yeah, donate money. There's going to be some more events over the course of the year and of the week, and then Black and White Ball is on Friday night. Also, proceeds go to charity. It's going to be at the Italian American Lodge.
Senator Dissert.
So I'm doing, our student advocacy committee is doing like an end of the year project. So if anybody wants to help me survey students about the parking issue, our goal is to try to create a carpooling app or try to get IT to create a carpooling app with tasks. So if anybody wants to get involved in surveying students, just come see me after the meeting.
What do you think, Daniel?
So, I hope everyone's ready to get salty on Sunday. The All Welcoming Eternal Society of Melodramatic Enigmas, along with R3 Gaming and the United Central California Fighting Game League, Boston Fresno, is holding a 3-tiered tournament. There's Super Smash Bros. Melee, there's Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3, and there's Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. We will have many people from Fresno, Central Valley, where the tournament's actually gaining popularity. One thing I do want to say is it's hosted, this is the first ever collaborated event hosted by Awesome for the video game portion. I do want to say that R3 Gaming is sponsored by 5150, a energy drink company. So they will be giving out free free energy drinks, but I do hope everyone can make it because it will be live streamed and a lot of UC Merced students will be playing against people that actually competed in EVO for those 2 games. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity to test your mind.
Senator Gray?
So I have a couple announcements, but a quick question. You said you have the old style Street Fighters. Is it going to have the actual hand thing, or is it going to be a control?
The setup's actually being
discussed. All right, so I won't make it to the dance off because it's going to be the sale, the ability pass. They're going to have their awards given out this weekend. So I'm going to attend that. And another thing too, I've been working with Charles Needs to get us the students some vending machines. And I've been talking to them about it. So it seems like we're going to get some vending machines in the new building. So we're trying to work that out, see how we can get the revenue back to the students, and then we can invest it back into the students. So that's what we've been working on. Just something that was like the floor. But yeah, so I don't know that well. But yeah, that's really what I'm working on right now. Well, that's what me and Charlie are working on, and I'll give you guys some more updates once it happens.
So this is a little bit not as fun, I guess, but tomorrow Business Society is having an entrepreneurship speaker event, and it's going to be based on big data and how we're using that nowadays, especially with marketing. Actually pretty cool. I don't know too much about big data. Management minor with psych major. And it's going to be tomorrow at 1 to 2 in the California room. There's going to be free food, and then there's also Q&A and networking opportunities there also.
Any more announcements? Senator Daniel?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second? Senator Mondo? Second by Senator Minor, any discussion? Anyone opposed?
It wasn't an announcement.
Yeah, make sure you hit stop.
No, it makes you refresh the page every time before you actually. Now I refresh the page.